Welcome to Comical Recovery. I am your host with the mostest trauma, comedian Jessica Byrne, creator of the upcoming cartoon Bud-Ease, winner of multiple East Coast comedy contests and 35 consecutive years of life experience in the School of Hard Knocks. Subscribe, it does not cost you anything. Hit the like button for recognition. Tell all your friends about your new addiction, because sharing is caring. Welcome to another episode of Comical Recovery. Today's topics. I guess there's multiple. It's multiple voices in my head. That is not the topic today. The topic is feelings. Yes, good old-fashioned feelings. Yay. Sometimes I have a bunch of them at once, which is what is happening today, which is why it's our topic. Yes. We're going to talk about dark feelings versus light feelings. What does that even mean, Jessica? Well, lucky for you, I took a pole dancing class many moons ago in California, and I did some teacher training, and she was a feminist. I don't know what that has to do with feelings, but she broke everything down, and I love the way she broke things down because she talks about emotions like separation from emotions. They are feelings in motion, which I thought was really cool and super necessary for coping, but not always do we want to handle things like that. At least me. Sometimes I just want to sit in my emotions. So, light emotions to her were courage, giving, joy, love, and surprise. Dark emotions are shame, disgust, or arrogance. Those live in the same house, apparently, according to her, that is. Sadness, anger, and good old-fashioned fear, my favorite. Those are the light and dark emotions. And if we have enough time, we may talk about a few of them, but we will just do one thing at a time for now. What habitual motions do you have for each emotion? Yeah, I thought that was a good question. I don't know if I have the answer to it or if anyone else does, but I figured I would tackle it one emotion at a time. You know, I was always told courage is walking through fear. That's the only way to get to courage. And fear is such an interesting emotion. We've all heard of flight or fight, that being the reaction to fear. There's also fawn and freeze, and I didn't know about fawn personally. That is a dangerous space to be for me, for this person right here, because I love to fawn, and I learned that from a really young age. So I had to recognize that not only do I go into fear and freeze a lot of times, but I also go into fawning after the person I'm afraid of. Hence the reason that many of my past life stories, and I'm not talking about like getting a past life reading from when you were here before you were born. I'm talking about like my past life drinking here in this same body, was oftentimes fawning over super dangerous and scary people because I loved chaos. I loved it. Probably still do. Not willing to talk about that one today. Anger. Anger is a fun one for me. Anger is this really lovely place where I want to spew out poisonous venom to whomever has hurt me, whether it be directly or indirectly. Indirectly is my favorite because honestly, it doesn't serve me or anyone else a purpose to hurt someone's feelings intentionally. So I just call to my friends and vent, and I say horrible, nasty things, and I try to use that as a precursor. Like, today you're going to see a super dark side of me that I am not very fond of, but I am semi-fond of, because I also find that when I'm angry, I'm hilarious. That's just my opinion. It's my coping skill. I love sarcasm and all things included, and that's what helps me get through my anger. Sadness. Sadness I like to sit in. I just like to sit in it. I love to ignore it. That's one of my favorites too, is to ignore my sadness. Then we've got disgust and arrogance, which I guess actually is where my anger lives, and then shame. Shame, I was told or read somewhere that you can't actually get rid of shame. You have to go through grief in order to let shame go. And I feel like all the light emotions are pretty easy to identify for most of us, but I found that when I got sober, sadness and joy came from the same place. Like, if I'm joyful of something, I want to bawl my face off. And I just hate crying. I hate crying. I feel super vulnerable and like a big old weak wimp. So as I got sober, I realized I don't like joy. I know, it's mind-blowing. Who doesn't like joy? This crazy person right here. I would rather sit in those dark emotions because those are safe for me. I know, it's crazy, right? Safe to be fearful, angry, sad, disgusted, or arrogant, and shameful. But those are where I lived for such a long time that it was uncomfortable to live in any other place except for giving. I could always be overly giving. But then I'd get angry about it because I expected other people to act as if I did. And if you're not in the program, let me give you a little nugget from the program. The program says anger is a premeditated resentment? I don't know. Expectations. I'm going to be human today, guys. Expectations are premeditated resentments. That's where I was going with that. So we've talked about the problem. And I think, as most of you know by now, I like to talk about the solution. So the solution is changing your emotions to raise your vibration, or finding a better movement to move that emotion through your body. I participate in this awesome workshop where all the emotions are very much welcome. And I really, really like that, because I learned that it's okay to be angry and to yell about it if that's what releases that emotion from inside of my body. So every once in a while, when I'm really angry, I may or may not scream my face off before driving to work, or before or after breaking up with someone, or any of those things, because I need to get it out of my body so that I don't dump that onto another person. Not to say that they may or may not deserve those things, but why stoop to their level in the first place? I have this awesome planner that I get every single year. It's from the Law of Attraction. I think that's what it's freedommastery.com. That's where you can get the planner. And in the beginning of the planner, it has emotional vibration affirmations and then action steps to feel better to increase your emotional vibration. And they start at the bottom with depression, and it's got a list of things underneath that, and then anger and blame and so on and so forth. And as you go up, frustration, hope, enthusiasm, and bliss. So you have these tools to either affirm your feelings and move up the vibrational scale, or an action to, once again, move up the vibrational scale. I'm not sure that I'll have enough time to go through each one of them, but I know that a lot of them have writing, and writing is one of my favorite tools. I love to write all the things, anything, lists, feelings, poems, whatever. And typing them on a computer or on my phone is not helpful to me. Writing them hand with pen, pencil, whatever, to paper is where the magic happens, in my opinion. That's where the magic happens. But sometimes we don't always have words, because if you have PTSD, then things can trigger from the past when you didn't have words, if you had things going on when you were an infant, right? And that's where I find art therapy or actual movement to be helpful. I know that for me, when I'm depressed, there's no moving, like going outside into nature. I know that's a helpful tool, but I'm just not there yet to use that tool. However, if I can get myself moving through music, that is always a helpful tool. I can't always get myself to yoga it out. I know that that is a helpful tool for many people as well. But I'm not there yet. Once again, I'm not there yet. There's some places that I'm just not there. And I am all about, when you're in this healing journey, to find out where you are and be there. Be in that place. Don't push yourself to be where you're not ready to be. That doesn't help me anyways. That makes me feel worse, and it brings me into this place of shame and shoulding on myself for like, oh, I should be here and I should be doing that. Like, no, I just need, what is going to help me right now? What is going to be helpful for me right now? Maybe it's putting on a sad movie and bawling my face off to something that's not relative to what I'm actually going through. Whatever that looks like, I need to move that emotion out of my body in order to move on and not carry it around. So what are your scoping? What are your scoping skills? What are your coping skills? If you have any, write them in the comment box below. I'd love to hear what they are. Or if you have questions, write those too. My belief is that the body is a roadmap and our emotions are like street signs. So what are those street signs telling me? I love anger for that reason as well, because anger can be very motivating for me. I'm very frustrated today, and I thought, all right, I'm going to make some podcasts because I have all of this energy, all of this emotion, and I want to put it to good use. So instead of being stuck and internalizing that anger towards myself, I'm going to use it for the greater good and talk about the topic of feelings. The last thing that I almost forgot is being stuck. And what do we get from being stuck? Because a lot of times we get something. You know, when I am playing the victim, people want to help me. So I'm getting a benefit from playing the victim. It's not a card I like to play often, and I like to be more aware of when I'm putting that card on the table for sure. But old me, especially in my drinking days, loved the victim role. I loved that there was some other bad guy outside of my realm of control, and I was the sweet, innocent victim that had no power to change anything. But quite frankly, that's a bunch of BS. I have plenty of power to change things. I don't always want to. Sometimes I want to feel stuck. Sometimes I want to feel stuck in sadness. Sometimes I want to feel just bad about myself so that I don't have to move on and I can just, I think the word's ruminate over past